Witchfire has been a game I've been interested in since it was revealed back in around 2017, I believe, at the Game Awards. This game was the reason that I actually wanted to get into PC gaming. Before that, I was always really into console games. This was something that I thought I was totally up my alley. It looked like a game that I would love playing for hours on end. I've always really been into this type of scenery. And I actually didn't even realize that this game was in early access until the moment I watched Iron Pineapple's recent video, which, if you have not seen it yet, go check it out. I'll make sure to link it in the description. This man always makes some of the best YouTube videos on the platform. I love his content so much. So please pause this video, come back when you're done watching it. It is an hour-long video. I will preface that. So if you're not into that long content, kind of watching in small bursts, it is worth it. But yeah, make sure you go watch that video and then come back to this one. When watching Pineapple's recent video, it made me remember all of the feelings I felt for this game while just watching the trailers. The fact that I had no idea that this game was even releasing was huge for me. So when I finally got to pick it up and play it myself, honestly, I really was not disappointed. I'm super happy with the game that in the state that it's currently in. And honestly, I really do think that everybody should check it out. This is one of the most special games I have ever played. And within this short span, I'm going to kind of tell you why I think that this game is super special and kind of the things that I feel like can be worked on in the early access development to make it even better. I know I mentioned it earlier, but I will preface this game is currently in early access. So right now there are only 2 levels. Once the game fully releases, there will be 6. Right now, in my personal opinion, I do not feel like there is a ton of content in the game for being released at $40. I feel like the game should have been released with around 4 levels, possibly instead of just 2. And then kind of, because right now it's released vice versa, where it has 2 levels out and 4 coming. I feel like it would have been better if it was the other way around. When the game feels really small, it is kind of hard to get into at the price point of $40. But I mean, if you are like me, it is personally worth it. I love games like this. Gothic settings, RPG mechanics, and the gameplay are all up my alley personally. I mean, I've put over 1,000 hours into both Borderlands 2 and 3 for just the same reason. I do love my FPS RPGs. And like Borderlands, this game does have a gear system, although it is quite different from other games like Borderlands. You have to research for items that you want. This ranges anywhere from guns to spells and even upgrades for your items and your gear. The research time has a little bit of a limit, so you can only do 2 at once, and the time limit itself can only be progressed while you're in a level. In my opinion, this is a cool theory, but I'm not a huge fan of the execution. I know it makes you want to go into levels and play the game, which that is great. But when you only start off with 1 gun, no spells and no other items, it can feel like a real slog to kind of get started, especially because you have to be level 3 in order to even do any type of research. So you're going to be playing levels until you're at least level 3, and you're only going to be stuck with your hand cannon, which if that's not your personal type of gun, you don't have any spells, it can be a little hard to get into. I myself only have a handful of guns at this point, just because research is random, you know. I have a shotgun, another pistol, a rifle, and I have one of the demonic guns, which are like the heavy guns. And I only really have 2 spells. And of course, I haven't been playing it for a long time, so that's also kind of on me. But the fact that I only have that handful amount while I've gone into this level like 20, 30 times, I feel like that's a little weird. Timing on the research definitely needs to be adjusted a little bit. It is a little long for what it is. It makes sense for like the demonic weapons and spells and stuff, but for guns, just try to unlock guns. It should be reduced a little bit, just because some of the guns that you can unlock are honestly really terrible. I personally would prefer a system to where if we had to find the guns in the map themselves, even if you wanted to keep that roguelite element that this game has, you could make it to where you want these set of guns or magic or weapons or what have it be, and have it be in like groups. So say, hey, I want to go for a roguelike build for this run. I want to go for a warrior-like build. I want to go for a mage-like build. And while you're in this map, then you kind of have to go around the map, try to find the items that are within that class. And I feel like that is a better type of gear system for what they are going for comparatively to the research levels which they currently have at the moment. On the topic of maps, I will also say that maps do feel quite small. They make you go in, want to gear up, level up, and get ready for more explorations. But at the moment, with the levels being so small, it's just kind of hard. It is listed as a roguelike, but with the maps being really small, you don't really get that sense of going around to new areas. It's the same every single time. The only thing that's a little bit different every time you go into the map is that the placements for everything except the boss are now random. This doesn't do a whole lot for me personally. I mean, each enemy groups are going to be the same every time that you go in. Just them being shuffled around is not enough for me to really care about the roguelike aspect of it. And that's also where I personally think that if they wanted to go with the roguelike elements, having the gear inside of the maps and be randomized also would really make a big difference for that roguelike feel. It just honestly feels a little half-baked to me personally. If you want to do a roguelite like this, you do have to really go for that gear system of a roguelite. Right now, it's more of a gear system into the style of Borderlands, but just instead of killing an enemy to get the gear, it's randomized with the research mechanic. I just think it would be way better if you have to find the gear before going to take on the boss, and then you would be a little bit more powerful because as you level up, the gear would then level up with you. It just makes it so that you feel that progression a little bit more in a roguelite, comparatively to where you have a roguelite in RPG mixed, but just in the current state of both of them, it just feels a little wrong. It just doesn't feel fully fleshed out. You just kind of feel underpowered in some aspects comparatively to how you would feel if it was placed throughout the map. It just feels like the ideas just really conflict with each other. The gear system doesn't match the map style, and it really just does feel like they wanted the best of both worlds. Well, they didn't necessarily come out the worst of both worlds, but it could be a lot better. And you might be wondering why I said this is one of the, coolest games and just one of the most special games of all time, but I'm starting off with all the bad points. Honestly, these are really the only bad things I have to say about the game. Everything else I really do love to bits. First off, the game really does feel perfect when you're playing it. Like the gameplay itself and how it feels to play. I know a lot of people complain about the stamina being really low when you start off, and that doesn't personally really bother me for the reason that you can continue to do actions with no stamina. They're just going to be a little bit slower. Your dash isn't going to be as long. Your screen will blur from being out of breath. To me, this is a fantastic way to represent stamina. It feels more real to me. If you were in a fight in real life, it would kind of be the same way. Your stamina would suck a lot at first if you're not used to fighting, but as you fought more and more, and you got used to it, you would get better at stamina management, and that's kind of how it works in this game. When you kill an enemy and you don't get hit, your max stamina increases. While I do think there should be an option to turn off the getting hit part and losing the stamina you gained, I think it's an amazing risk reward system. It's brutal, but it works. It helps you understand the game flow, and kind of how to manage your surroundings. Plus, I mean, there are indicators on screen when an enemy is about to attack you, so the game does help you try not to get hit. It's all about just learning the timing of it. Guns and magic also feel very good to use in this game. I'm a huge fan of handguns and snipers, especially in video games, and the beginning gun feels amazing to use. It's currently my favorite gun to even still use in the game. It feels like the right mix of powerful and balanced. With guns in this game, they actually have drop off. So you can't just snipe demons with a hand cannon from like 100 feet away. You have to actually get close, line up your shots properly as they try to fight back. I love this personally. It makes the game feel way more intense, but in a good way. It makes you stay focused. It makes you kind of keep track of everything. The game keeps my attention in such a fantastic way when I'm actually playing the game that no other shooters have really been able to capture at this point. Magic is also super powerful. Right now I really only have a fireball spell as my light magic, but even that feels extremely powerful. It can melt like 3 enemies in just one throw, and the enemies it doesn't kill, it will debuff. It feels really good to just hit your mark with a spell and show it have an immediate effect on them. I just love how the game feels to play. It's one of the best FPS games I've ever played personally. I also just love the visuals in this game. My footage doesn't really do the game justice, as I was having some issues with my drivers when recording the gameplay. But the game just looks stunning when you're actually playing it yourself. I mean, my rig isn't anything extremely powerful. I have a 3060, I have 64 gigabytes of RAM, but with this setup, it still looks so good, and this is really just on medium to high settings. The atmosphere itself is incredible. I just really love this mixture of gothic settings with Doom-like enemies. It's just very unique and super awesome. I just love everything that has to do with these settings. I can't wait to see more games like this and games like Lords of the Fallen to really show that this unique style really does work, and I can't wait to see just more of it. I love it. And the game itself does just feel like a mix of Dark Souls and Doom, oddly enough. It has the speed of Doom while having the gameplay loop of Dark Souls. It's fast paced and doesn't want you to get hit, but it rewards you with not getting hit with, level ups and currency being obtained by killing enemies and opening chests. With the game being in early access at the current moment, there are only a few stats that you can level up, but there are going to be more coming in the full release as well. This game is honestly one of the most unique games I've ever played, and while it can be a challenge, it's a fun challenge to really overcome. I myself just kind of started playing. I've only played for around 10 hours. I haven't even beat the first boss yet, but I do see something special in this game. I think that with a few tweaks, this game would honestly be perfect. I recommend giving this game a try if you own a PC, either right now or when the game releases in full. It's just kind of hard to put into words about what is so special about this game, and I kind of tried to do my best with my little explanations and peeks into why I love the game so much. But it's really one of those things that you can only experience when you pick up the game yourself. And if you did like this small video, please make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. The next video will most likely be an RPG related video. Maybe some Borderlands if that tickles your fancy. I mean, I did mention Borderlands earlier, and I haven't really made a Borderlands video yet other than my Tiny Tina video. But if you don't want to miss that and you do like Borderlands, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I would really love to try to, reach a bigger audience. I love making videos for you guys. And if you did get to this point, you are honestly so amazing, and I genuinely appreciate every little bit of you. You are all just so amazing, and I love just making these videos for you guys. With that, my name is Riku, and I hope that you all have a magical day. Take care, everybody.